Raj Bhavan, Panaji, Panajijin, Panajijin, Bhavan, Panajijin, 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 Panajij. Raj Bhavan Government House is a residential palace and fort situated in Dona Paula, Goa, which serves as the official residence of the Governor of Goa. The sprawling 88 acres estate is located on a cape in the Goan capital, Panjim, known by the name Palacio do Cabo until it gained official status as the residence of the Governor of Goa. This palace is said to be built between the 16th and 17th century in the erstwhile Portuguese India. The fort is strategically positioned facing the Arabian Sea opposite the well-preserved 17th century Forte Aguada. History. In 1540, the 8th governor of Portuguese India, Estevão de Gama, proposed the idea of constructing some fortifications to guard the entrance to the Goa harbor. As per their long-established defense strategy, they quickly built a church and fort and subsequently attached a convent. The Cabo Portuguese for Cape was converted into one of the best equipped and important fortresses over the years, although these days nothing remains of the old citadel that served as the Franciscan convent. Since the cannons were not often used, the buildings at some point of time were also used as temporary accommodation for the archbishop. Over a course of time it became the official residence of the Portuguese governor of Goa. It is said to be a strategically designed fort, not just holding panoramic views of the meeting of three water bodies, the Mandovi and Zuari rivers with the Arabian Sea, but also of the river bay, Forte Aguada, and the busy port of Mormugao. The scenic beauty and solitude combined with its uniqueness and planning are some of the attractions that remain at the Palacio do Cabo. The small church founded in 1541 at the very end of the mansion is dedicated to Our Lady of the Cape Nossa Senhora do Cabo. This church also served as a landmark for the seafarers and celebrates its annual fest feast on 15 August. The Cabo Palace is now known as the Raj Bhavan, the official name given to the residence of the governors of the states in India. It is also said to be among the finest residences of Indian governors owing to its location and display of Portuguese Goan architecture. Indeed, it is said to hold the title as the oldest, as no other residence of a governor of India has its origin over 400 years ago. Architecture and antiques. The palace is a double-story structure of great dimensions and architectural significance. While the ground level consists of the office chamber and residence of the governor in addition to few guest suites. The upper level holds halls for gatherings, Durbar Hall, conferences and banquets, along with the main kitchen and additional guest suites or rooms. A row of verandas elevated on pillars on the rear side of the mansion overlook the Mandovi River to the right, the Zuari River to the left, and the Arabian Sea ahead. Bohemian chandeliers, Chinese porcelain, silver, and wooden furniture form the assets of this palace. The beautiful pieces of antique Chinese porcelain are said to be presumably manufactured in Canton. A worn-out set of crockery having a similar design with Portuguese coat of arms were specially ordered for the use of the Portuguese Governor-General. An excellent collection of high-quality solid wooden furniture with exquisite workmanship adorns some of the spaces in this palatial mansion. A set of intricately carved chairs with figurines of Hindu gods and temples indicate the complete harmony between Christians and Hindus that existed in Goa. 5 tall Cantonese vases believed to be over 300 years old, as well as 2 large-sized Cantonese bowls, all of which hold the Portuguese coat of arms, are among the prized antique items at the palace. So are 2 wooden ormolu-mounted chests with veneer wood inlaid Carrara marble tops. On the walls of the Durbar Hall are large mirrors and a painting of a fisherman by Francisco José Rezende, 1866. Exquisitely carved furniture of ingenious and rare workmanship form part of the beautiful collections of the palace, the quality of which has not diminished even after use for centuries, owing to the upkeep. Renovation. During the years 1999 and 2000, the palace underwent a major renovation. In order to strengthen the structure as per expert advice, old wooden beams that held the upper level were replaced with steel beams. The beams are said to have been decayed over the years. The process was carried out in phases to allow for careful alterations and avoid any damages to the historically significant structure. In areas behind the palace facing the Arabian Sea, considerable distress had been faced over the last few years, in turn calling for major remedial steps to protect and preserve this historical building. Landmarks: Our Lady of the Cape Church. The over 500-year-old Catholic church, also known as Nossa Senhora do Cabo, occupies a corner on the site commanding majestic views of the bay and sea. It is open for morning masses on all Sundays as well as on special occasions like Christmas, Easter, and the annual church feast. A large number of devotees, mostly from the surrounding areas, attend the weekly celebrations. The feast is celebrated on the morning of 15 August, which also coincides with the Independence Day of India. Thousands of devotees cutting across religious lines attend the special prayers held on this occasion. A fest and mela is held annually on this day on the premises. Grotto. A small distance away from the main church located on the slope, after descending through steps, is the grotto dedicated to Saint Paula. The altar in this grotto is installed in a cut out of the Cape rock and holds the saint's sculpture in a recumbent position. Behind it lies the image of Jesus on a trefoil cross. There is a common belief that those who offer prayers here will have their wishes fulfilled. The history associated with it, as written on a board hung at the place, states as follows. St. Paula 347–404 AD, a Roman senator's widow, and her daughter Eustochium were living an austere life in Rome when St. Jerome 341–420 AD came there from Palestine in 383 AD. 4 years later, mother and daughter followed the great doctor to Palestine. The Feast of the Grotto is celebrated in the evening on 2 August. A large number of faithful living on the estate as well as the nearby areas attend this annual tradition. The estate. The Palacio do Cabo estate is surrounded on 3 sides by sea and has a total area of about 80 acres. One massive laterite stone wall exists to the east which serves as the estate's boundary on that side. On the seashore side there are masonry walls which have withstood the onslaught of time for over 4 centuries. The flat table land in the middle of the estate covers about 3/4 of the total land, but it has steep side slopes towards the water bodies. About 5 hectares of the flat table land is occupied by buildings, gardens, lawns, and the remaining is full of vegetation consisting of large number of species of trees. Adding new species of trees in large number has been an annual phenomenon at the palatial estate. The premises also have a kitchen garden where seasonal vegetables are grown. The main garden in front of the palace consists of 3 lawns enclosed by seasonal flower beds. The Palacio estate has got the best prize for its well-maintained gardens in year 2000 state of Goa, and also bagged the second prize the following year. Various species of birds flock to the estate, taking advantage of its location and vegetation. These include peacocks, eagles, kingfishers, tree pies, doves, bee-eaters, etc. There are also a variety of reptiles like pythons, cobras, rats, snakes, chameleons, and monitor lizards. Smaller animals like mongoose, hare, jackals, squirrels, and porcupines also reside on the estate. There have been no known cases over the years of any harm causes to residents or visitors alike. However, the estate footfall is also limited to the main buildings and surrounding areas. Special care is taken to protect, preserve, and enrich the flora and fauna of the Palacio estate. In its form, the estate seems to serve as a treasure house of biodiversity, incorporating the diverse flora and fauna of the Western Ghats. The estate beach, Cape Beach. Another ideal spot in the Palacio estate is a narrow strip of beach only accessible by a series of steps. There is a natural spring with sweet water about 20 meters away from the seawater towards the property. From here one can get a view of the Mormugao harbor. However, it is not safe for diving. The Cannon Point. On the western side, just a 3 minutes drive from the main palace through the dense vegetation, is a spot named Cannon Point. A small park complete with pathways and lighting have been provided at this location owing to its scenic nature. Two old Portuguese-era cannons were retrieved from the shore below and placed on pedestals here. This place offers a stunning view of the sunset, musically enhanced with the surging tides of the Arabian Sea lustily lashing the estate's shore. The jetty. There is also a non-operational jetty located where the Mandovi River joins the sea. It is presumed to have been in active use in the yesteryears. Near the Portuguese-era jetty is a flat area bound with scores of trees, particularly the coconut tree, that gives enchanting Goa its paradise charm. This is an ideal place to relax and let time pass in the typical Sasagado style. There is also a small narrow sandy strip, but the place is not practical for swimming. Customary to Goan way of life, an old well daunts the estate at a comfortable 30 meters away from the seacoast. British Cemetery. Just outside the gates of Palacio do Cabo, there is a 180-year-old cemetery which is the only remaining evidence of the presence of the British forces in the fortress. The British occupied Goa for a mere 14 years, from 1799 to 1813. During the period they also constructed several edifices in the Forte Aguada, Gaspar Dias and Mormugao areas, but most of them were demolished by the Portuguese in 1848, leaving little presence, if any, of their arrival. The cemetery was built sometime in 1802 to serve the purpose of British garrisons stationed at Forte Mormugao, Palacio do Cabo, and Forte Aguada. Mr. W. Walker, a traveler, once described the cemetery in 1855. He stated, "I visited the burial ground at Cabo, built and used by the British force of 10,000 sick men when they held possession of the seaboard points of Goa to prevent the French entering India by this route in 1805. On 19 May 1869 a request was made by the then government of British India to the Governor-General of Portuguese, Sr. Gerson-Duncan had described the cemetery in 1878 as an oblong area about 180 yards by 145 yards long, with an enclosed wall all around and a massive ornamental gate of teak wood. The key to this door was with the chaplain of a neighboring convent. There are 47 tombstones and 56 gravestones in the cemetery. The cemetery, which was repaired by the British consul in 1941, is now in good condition. The old wooden gate has since been replaced by a metal one. Out of the 6 mango trees which were there in the past, 2 have survived. There is a well inside the cemetery which is dry. The earliest burial, according to the tomb plates, was on 19 December 1808 and the latest on 10 August 1912.